grave fears for the safety of Afghan translators who supported our Australian troops. Today marks 1 year since the Taliban retook control of Afghanistan.
Bubble, 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 bubble.
They are now breathing much easier. A swimming school in Sydney, a world away from the hardship they fled. It's an experience previously unimaginable for these Afghans starting a new life.
It's like literally from one extreme to another. So we are creating for them memories of freedom, happiness, opportunities.
The nation they left drowns in destitution. 1 year since the chaos at Kabul's airport, after the Taliban reclaimed the country they were ousted from almost 2 decades prior, Afghanistan endures humanitarian and economic disasters.
The future is very bleak. We see this as a precipice, and we are driving towards the precipice without even a safety belt on.
It's estimated around 80% of the country's 40 million citizens are living in poverty. This hospital in the capital simply can't keep up with the stream of stricken children. This woman says she didn't have enough to eat during pregnancy. Her newborn among the 1.1 million Afghan children the United Nations estimates will suffer from severe malnutrition this year.
Over the past year or so, there's no question the number of children who are severely malnourished has doubled. And I do not see those numbers improving. I see them getting worse.
International aid has dropped dramatically, and the United States is blocking the new government from accessing $7 billion of its central bank funds held overseas. Women are bearing the brunt of the Taliban's crackdown on freedoms. Their appearance, movement and career opportunities are drastically limited under a form of Sharia law.
My message to the Taliban is to reopen schools for girls as soon as possible. I urge them to keep their word. We want to study.
Those brave enough to speak out face possible arrest or worse. This recent protest in Kabul lasted a few minutes before being broken up by Taliban officials. Thousands are seeking safety in Australia. Our government this year announced an additional 16,500 humanitarian places for refugees from Afghanistan over the next 4 years. There are calls for Afghans who supported Australian troops and face Taliban death threats to be prioritised.
There has been interpreters that have been murdered and their families, mate. They need to come home. We need to make sure we do the right thing and look after them.
The historic capitulation of a government Australian soldiers died for dramatically worsened what was already a dire situation for a nation which had endured decades of war and political instability.
The international community spent trillions of dollars in Afghanistan. We saw that the NATO and the coalition forces lost more than 3,000 men in this war. And today we see what is the result. That same terrorist group has taken over that country and it's ruling it.
And while those who fled enjoy new freedoms, Afghanistan plunges further towards potential collapse. Brent O'Halloran, Sky News.